Hi, everyone. I'm Abhishek. I'm one of the co founders of AppSmith. And today I'm really excited to talk about some of our new features that we are going to be going live with really soon. We're actually going to be talking about three features. And to talk about those three features with me, I have two of my colleagues. First, I have Trisha with me, who's actually the first engineer who joined AppSmith and started working with us. And then I have Anag, who's another uh, engineer with us, who's been working with us for over a year. So, uh, so let's get started with today's session. Hi, Anag. Hi, how are you doing? Hi, Trisha.
Hey,
So, are you both excited about talking about Git sync and SSO?
Yeah.
absolutely.
Uh, I know, Anag, you've been working on Git sync for like what, 4 months now? Is that right?
Yeah, work-wise it is 4 months. Then design, discussion, all those things. If you include, it's like almost like 5.5 months.
Okay, that's quite a while. And I'm sure
Yeah.
you're super excited to show it today and then soon go live as well with it.
Yeah.
Uh, Thanks, Anag. Uh, Trisha, what about you? How long have you been working on SSO?
A month?
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
not that long. Yeah.
Not that long. So let me actually go on and share my screen and then we'll talk some more very soon. Okay, so like I said, we're going to be talking about three features today: Git sync, SSO, and the JSON form builder. Uh, First, we're going to be talking about Git sync. Now, Git sync has been one of the most highly upvoted features on GitHub, and we've had a lot of people ask for it. And we know why it's important because we have like three goals with Git sync. The first one was version control. Now, the idea is version control should be really easy to do in AppSmith. Sorry, I think I have some text that's not been updated here, but let's ignore that. So with version control, the idea is you should be able to roll back to a version of AppSmith that you like, as well as uh, rescue yourself from a bad situation. Maybe there's something that went wrong with that particular app that you were building. it should be easy for you to roll back. So that's the main reason why we started working on Git Sync. The second reason is team collaboration. Of course, as developers, you mostly work on Git, and you use Git to manage all the work that you're doing and all the code that you're writing. And the best part about using Git is that you can have multiple people work on that same AppSmith app without stepping on each other's toes and without overriding anything that somebody's done. So that's the second reason. The third reason is to kind of create like a sandbox environment where you as a developer should be able to build different versions of the app, maybe connect them to totally different APIs or different environments, and test and break these apps without affecting the app that's already in prod. Now, this particular feature can be used to manage environments. It's not perfect for it, but it can be. And actually, Anag is going to talk a little bit about it. So these are the three main goals with GitSync. Now, with this, let's actually go to Anag, who's going to show us a quick demo and talk to us about GitSync. Hey, Anag, over to you.
Hey, hi. So I'm gonna share my screen. So can you?
Yes.
Yeah. So myself, Anag. So I've been working with AppSmith from almost a year. So I work as a backend engineer with the platform pod. So I've been working on this sketching feature from quite a while, like Abhishek mentioned, and I'm very excited to present this feature. So what I have here is a very simple application which lists down all the pull requests from the AppSmith repo, and like when you click on any pull request, it will fetch all the comments. So what I'm gonna do is walk you through on different process that involves before using the Git sync feature. So first I'm gonna connect this application to a Git repo, and then we'll try to create few branches and try to merge them and revert back, and how we can move away from bad state to previously working state. Uh, those kind of things. So for the today's demo, I'm gonna go ahead and create a new GitHub repo first.
So Anand, are you creating a new GitHub repo on GitHub? Uh,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
So, all right.
Now, Anand, this connect to Git. Now that will work with private or public repos, right? Hey, Anand. Uh, I
Hey,
think Anand.
sorry. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, now we
Yeah.
can see your screen again. So I just had a
Okay.
question about the connect to Git. Now you can connect this with private or public repos, right?
Yeah, of course. And also for the sake of demo, I'm gonna use GitHub, but we do support all other Git host providers like GitLab, Bitbucket, AWS Code Commit, Azure DevOps
Mhm.
Services, all those things. And yes,
Okay.
you can connect to private and public repos. So for in order to interact with this, what we are using is something called deploy keys. So a deploy key is basically an SSH key which is used to give access and manage all the Git related operations. And so what I'm going to do is, so at the bottom bar you can see this option called connect to Git. So I'm gonna paste the SSH URL of the Git repo which I've created now. So and then click on generate key. So once you generate the key, you are expected to copy this public key and add this in the deploy key section of the repo. And these keys are repo specific. So basically, each application will have its own keys. So I'm going to copy this key and add it to the GitHub repo.
Anag, I have a request here. Could you share that screen where you're showing us how to do this on GitHub?
So
Because I think you're just sharing one window. I think Anag's having a little bit of internet trouble today. Yeah, no worries at all. That's okay. Yes, we can see your screen here. Mhm. Mhm. Anag, we have a question here from Paulo. So Paulo is asking the environment with GitSync can reside on different servers. Okay, so if I have to rephrase this, uh, so Paulo says the environment with GitSync can reside on different servers. Now, okay, so basically I can have AppSmith in different servers, and I can be syncing apps from different AppSmith servers into the same repo, right? Mhm. Okay. Anak, sorry to interrupt you. I think people are not able to hear you for some reason. Mm, okay. Multiple people are saying they can't hear you. I am not sure. Do you uh, do you mind just turning on and off your microphone? See if that works. Let's wait for somebody to comment on YouTube. Can you just say some more things? Okay, for some reason, people can't hear you yet. Anand, do you want to rejoin Restream? It could be something to do with Restream. Yeah, why don't you rejoin? Let's do this. We'll go to Trisha and talk a bit about SSO, and then why back and rejoin this. Okay, Trisha, so while we wait for Anag, let's talk about SSO. So
Right.
first, I remember, I think one of the first things that you worked on at AppSmith. Now, uh, you were obviously like the first engineer to join AppSmith, after Arpit and Nikhil as the co-founders. Wasn't authentication one of the first things that you worked on?
Yes, definitely. Again, that was the first time I was working on authentication at all. I was so
Hmm.
lost. It
Hmm.
was the hardest week of AppSmith that I've had, I gotta say. And nothing made sense in the code. Till then, like features before and after were like cake walks in life. Then SSO, when we got started month and a half, 2 months ago, I'm gonna say like we spent 3 weeks just fighting with SSO. So the
Hmm.
entire team who's working on this, it's me, it's Dev Saurabh, it's Raksha. The three of us, none of us had ever experienced SSO either on the implementation side or while integrating with another service. And all of us paid the so called SSO tax. We spent hours together on a call trying to figure out how do we integrate with X service, with SAML, with OIDC. And I kid you not, 2 weeks of just understanding what it takes to do SSO. Yeah.
That
Hey
that
guys.
sounds like a lot of work. And so let's actually dig deeper into SSO. Let me just quickly share my screen, and I'm gonna just talk a little bit about SSO, and then we'll come back to you.
Right.
Oh, and meanwhile, we have Anag back here.
Hey,
Anag,
Am
do
I
you want
am
to
I
say hello?
audible? Is this you guys still can't hear me?
Let's wait for a comment.
Okay.
I think people can hear you. Yay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
This is awesome. So should we
Okay.
just go back to GitSync then? Why don't we just complete that? Let's do that. Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna share the screen again. Okay. So what I've done is I have connected the application to the Git repo, and now I'm gonna make an initial commit and push all the application related data to the Git repo. So at the top you can see here, right, 3 pages updated, 2 queries added. Right? So this tells you what all changes have been done in this specific commit. Okay. So yeah, now we have pushed. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a couple of branches from the master. So one I'm gonna call it as feature one. Okay. So now that we are in feature one branch, what I want to show you guys is like how we can add a new page and like get feedback from people within the team and like make some changes if they request for anything, and then try to merge that back to the master branch, and see how we can collaborate and use features like comments and features which are available within the AppSmith, and uh, use the git sync along with that. Okay, so
So, Anag, should I leave a comment for you?
Uh, yeah, so I'm gonna so right now what we are displaying is we are just displaying all the open PRs, right? So I'm gonna create one more page where I'll display all the open PRs which are in draft state, and then share that link. Then we can see how your comments are there only in this branch, and if you switch to a different branch, how this information is not available, things like that.
Sounds good.
Uh, okay, so I'm gonna delete this widget. And I'm just gonna add a JS script here. Let's make sure that we have all the settings correct. Okay, maybe I'm based on. Okay. Uh, yeah.
So, Anag, here you're just creating like a dummy JSON object, right?
Sorry.
You're just creating a dummy JSON object to demonstrate something, right? Or do we have to pay attention to what you're doing here?
No. So I was just gonna add like a small JavaScript code, which will filter out the PRs which are in draft state. Uh,
Okay.
this has nothing to do with the fixing feature. So I just
Right.
wanted to demonstrate that these all the queries actions are also specific to branch. So
Mhm. Hmm. And that's basically how you were saying people could use this for environments, right? Because you can have different queries in different branches.
yeah, yeah. So you so in normal software release management and lifecycle development, we have master branch which corresponds to production, and release is release environment, and then we have different feature branch. So
Hmm.
here also we can have follow the same structure, if we
Mhm.
standardize within the org that no one can commit directly to master branch and to release branch, then we can have the environment thing as well. So that way you make your changes in your own feature branch, and then you merge it to release, and then get the review from product manager or your manager, and if things looks good and nothing is breaking, then you promote that change to master branch.
Nice. So this actually sounds like a fairly revolutionary feature for low code, if I may say, because suddenly you can now follow your normal software development processes, and uh, I think like since both of you have always worked at enterprise companies, I'm sure that's something that's really important for you to follow.
Absolutely. I think as the team size increases, absence of Git becomes
Mhm.
a non-starter for teams. So I think
Mhm.
like as great as low code has been to software development and quickly getting a lot of these apps which are so useful out, any team of any bigger size, as they grow bigger, they got to have Git.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, Anag dropped off.
I think so.
Yeah, it seems like it. I think he's having internet issues. So I think we've seen a little bit of Git already. Let's give Anag another couple of minutes. Maybe we could just move to SSO then.
Sure, sure.
Oh, we have a question from Mohammed. Can we use Bitbucket? Absolutely. This will work with Bitbucket, GitHub, GitLab. Trisha, why have we made it work with so many services? Is this because of Git's standards itself? Is that why we've been able to do it?
Yes, absolutely. So what we have is a Git, like we are providing Git functionality. So you can use any of these providers. You can use Bitbucket, you can use GitLab, GitHub. You can use any of these wherever, whatever your organization is using, whatever you are comfortable with. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds awesome. And one of the things that I'm super excited about is actually bringing Git Sync into our open source community product, because this is going to be part of our free community edition. This is not in enterprise editions. We see a lot of our competitors introducing this as an enterprise feature, but because of things that Trisha just said, that if you have a large team and you do not have Git, it's basically a non-starter. That's why we've decided to ensure this is part of a community edition. And this is basically the full experience. There is nothing that we are breaking up and keeping in the enterprise edition here. You can use all the features of GitSync in the community edition.
I think even as an individual developer,
Mhm.
having Git has always been very important. Like even for my own personal projects, which I'm not contributing with anybody with, like nobody is helping me, or
Mhm.
I still require Git because I like to know where I'm at, and having the ability to roll back to a specific
Mhm.
version, having the feature branches, it's very important, even as an individual developer.
Mhm. Got it. That makes sense. So it's like a safe development practice, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Oh, Anag is back again. Hey, Anag.
Um, yeah, sorry, I'm not sure what is wrong with my internet today. It keeps on disconnecting. Okay.
No worries at all. That's okay. We were just talking about how Git is also useful for individual developers and not just for teams of developers.
Um, so I have written a very simple JS object function which basically filters out the PRs which are in draft state. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna commit and push these changes to the remove, and let's say I give a commit message and PR page to the application. So I have also invited Abhishek to this app. So I would so what you can do is you can share the URL of the application by
Hmm.
either raising a pull request, or just share them within your own channel and ask them for the feedback. So Abhishek, can you have a look at the page and share your comments? And
That sounds good. So I'm just going to load feature one branch here for that same app. Yeah, and I do see draft PR.
okay, so
So,
while Abhishek comments, we can when you switch, right, you don't see the new page that you have added. Like it is specific to that branch.
mhm. Yeah, I think this page looks good to me.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So this way, you can get other folks' opinion on your changes, and like if they have any changes, you can make them. So now that things looks good, I'm gonna resolve this comment, and I'm just gonna merge this changes back to the feature branch. So
So Anand, just to clarify what just happened here, this comment that I left for you is only in feature one. Now it's feature one branch. It's not in master. It's not in the other branches, right? Am I correct?
yeah, that's correct. So uh, all the resources that you see here, right? JS objects, queries, all the widgets, pages, these are all specific to branch. They are like if you switch to a different branch, then even the comment is also not visible there. You have to come
Mhm.
to this very specific branch and then put your comments and your reviews. So
And so I have just one more follow-up question. It might be obvious to some people, but I just wanted to confirm it. Is now if Trisha goes on and pulls the feature one branch, she will
mhm.
also be able to see my comments. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Understood. So this is the way by which we can all be testing out the same application or building on the same application, but just using totally different branches. And then uh, any work that we do on that particular branch just stays in that branch unless we merge it or we do
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So all of this, and one more thing to notice is of whatever the changes that we have done, right? This is all present in our Git repo. So if you go to the
Mhm.
repo and see, all of this data is committed here. So in case if you make some changes and by accidentally you delete some pages or you delete an action or a query, or if you run into a bad state, you can always come back here, then revert your changes, revert that one specific commit where that you have made a mistake. You can revert that and then you can pull back the changes
Mhm.
via merge back to the release branch, and then you do the pull in your AppSmith app, and then you can see your application goes back to the previous working state. I'll
Mhm.
demo that as well.
Yeah,
So
sounds good.
I'm gonna merge all the changes from feature one back to the master branch, and we also have this status API, which will check whether you can merge feature one to master without any conflict, and it will inform you in advance that all the changes are correct and you can merge with no issues.
What happens if there is a conflict?
Okay, so when there's a conflict, right? So right now we do not have any visual what say editor. So when I
Mhm.
say visual editor, AppSmith being a visual tool where you create widgets and by drag and drop. If we show you a simple editor with some set of JSON things name and things, it would be very hard to do the reviews. So this is not possible at the moment within the AppSmith, but you can always go to your Git hosting provider that you can resolve the merge conflicts the way you do normally in any
Mhm.
other way. So we are also planning to work on this in the upcoming days, like a visual which will kind of tell you which widget has been causing this issue, things like that.
Got it.
Okay, so I have merged the changes from features. So let's go back to master branch. Okay, so now you see this new page that got added, uh, which lists only the draft PR. So,
Great. That's
so
awesome. I think there might be a small problem with the API call. That's probably why the table is in a loading state. But I think
yeah, so it's taking
the
some time to get the data. So that's why. the delay.
Mhm.
Could be my network as well, because it keeps on kicking me out again and again due to slow network. Okay, so now I'm gonna purposefully create a breaking change, which will, instead of the actual thing, I'll, remove this and, and commit the changes, and then I'm gonna demo you how we can, revert back to the previous working state. So this is a wrong name. I should be actually calling the function. So I'm gonna, commit this change, saying, I'm breaking this change. Breaking change. Okay. So
Anak, I
this
have
will
a
not.
very basic question here. So you push this breaking change. Now, does this
Mhm.
mean all the apps which are connected to the master branch, they will automatically get updated? Is that correct?
Yeah, so this change is not yet promoted to master branch. This is still in feature 2. So
Mhm.
when you merge these changes to master branch, yeah, then all the all the branches, when they try to create a branch from this, or they try to merge this to that branch, then yeah, they will get this breaking change.
Okay, got it.
So I'm gonna create a pull request here, feature 2, which has breaking change. So So now I'm gonna merge the feature to branch back to the master branch. You don't necessarily have to do the merging operation within AppSmith. So you can do it in your Git hosting provider as well, like GitHub, GitLab, or any place, and then you can pull that as well. So the reason I'm saying this is because there would be some sort of restrictions within some orgs on specific set of branches, like you can't really commit or merge things like that. So that's the
Hmm.
reason I also wanted to highlight this factor as well. So I have merged the changes from feature to branch to master. So now my remote master branch is ahead of the branch that is present in AppSmith. So once you go back to the master branch, at the bottom bar here you see this number, right? 3. So
Yeah.
this basically does the pull operation. So generally this would be in a disabled state. So until and unless there is any remote changes present, then we enable this change. So, and in that case it will tell you how many commits it is ahead. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna, and once you do pull and pull is successful, your application will be reloaded with the latest change. And as you can see, I have introduced the breaking change, and you can see that this is JSON object one. I it should be JSON object one dot the function name. So now you know which branch has caused this issue. So and which commit has caused this. So let's go back to the commit history, and this is the one that has caused the uh, breaking chain. So I'm gonna go here and revert this change and merge back the reverted changes back to the master. Okay, so let's see if we have any okay, so this is enabled again because the chain remote has some changes. So I'm gonna pull this change, and yeah, you're back to the working state. So it's as simple as that. So
Nice.
this way, like, yeah, you don't have to worry about, like, accidentally doing something or scared to do something, because it's a production version app. What happens, if I mess this up, like, what will my product manager say or my manager say? So all those things are resolved, and, like, you it will open a lot of doors and opportunities for you with this feature.
Thanks, Anag. This looks really awesome. And I know you and Abhijit and Hitesh, Joy, you all worked so hard on this.
Yeah, yeah. Big shout out to all of them. Like, it wouldn't have been possible without any of their help. And yeah, it was very fun, working with this feature, especially considering it's so unique and such a different thing, and it adds so much value to our user base. Uh, so yeah, I'm very happy that we are able to get this working, and we're gonna so excited to release it very soon.
Thanks, Anag. Anag, can you spend maybe like 1 more minute just talking about what's next for the Git sync feature? Let me actually
Oh,
share my screen where you've written it down.
Um, yeah. So so git import. So now that you have connected your application, you might want to import it back, like, to a different instance. Which So before I mentioned, right, like, you have two different instances running. One is production version, and other one is low release or staging. So with this, what you can actually have, you can have a different environment. So say you make all your changes, everything. So the one more reason to introduce this is, in when it comes to big organization, not everybody will have access to production data, considering its sensitivity and all the user policy. So what happens in most of the cases is they would have to deal with text data. So in
Mm,
such cases, what you can do is, like, all the configurations, everything in instance one would point to your test data. And you can import, once it is pushed to GitHub, you can import the same app back to your instance too, and it will point to, like, actual real user data. So that way you wouldn't
mm,
have to worry about, like, dealing with this data, and never even have to worry about, like, breaking things and stuff like that. So that's the reason we want to introduce git import, because it kind of solves environment issues as well. And
mm,
so other one is the built-in editor. So right now, although you can solve the merge conflicts in GitHub or GitLab or anywhere, it's not, like, a very good experience, because AppSmith is a visual internal building tool. So you just can't really make a lot of sense by looking at just by names or these JSON files. So, and other one is advanced git operations. So right now we support very limited set of git operations, very basic ones. But for example, just now, one of the things which I've demonstrated was revert, which would be
mm,
very helpful, considering we want to go back to the previous state. So you imagine, like, you have a button, like, where you click, where when you click that, it will, which will show you a set of commit history, and you just select, and it will do everything for you. You don't have to go to GitHub, revert, merge it back, then pull all those things, right? So
mm.
these are the, when I say advanced operations, so basically that helps the users a bit more in their day-to-day development time.
This sounds great. Thanks, Anag. Anag, the last $1 million question. When is this going live?
Uh, Very soon. So we are testing this internally, and, like, handling a few edge cases here and there. So yeah, very soon. I would say very soon. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good, Anag. Looking forward to seeing this go live. And thank you so much for demoing this.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Anag. Now let's move on to the next feature that we wanted to show, which is the SSO integration. Now, this SSO integration is specifically for non-Google SSO. Google SSO is already part of our community edition, but we've started working on our first commercial and enterprise edition feature, which is actually the SSO integration here, which Trisha is going to demonstrate. This is something that has been one of the most requested for features, especially by large companies, as well as fintech, healthcare startups who might be small, but they all use SSO. So we're really excited to bring this to everybody. And if you're interested in trying out SSO as a part of a commercial or enterprise edition, please write to us. You can use the login, or rather, you can use the contact us on appsmith.com, or you can use Discord to ping us, my email is abhishek at appsmith.com. You can email me and I'll be happy to add you to the list so that as soon as this launches, you can be one of the first people to try this out. Okay, so with that said, let's move on to this. Now, the reason we wanted to do SSO, there are two big reasons. First one is so that you as a user of AppSmith can use a trusted authentication instead of using AppSmith's form login or AppSmith's Google login. You can now use your trusted authentication provider. That's the first big reason. The second reason is to improve the onboarding and offboarding experience for team members. Uh, the fact that your team members will no longer need to create a whole new account or a whole new login and remember it is a big deal. What this means is you can now build an AppSmith app, just give it to your team members, and not worry about them running into problems while trying to access the application. As well as if somebody is moving out of your team, you're going to be able to turn off their access to that AppSmith app centrally. So these are the two big reasons why we wanted to do SSO. Trisha, am I forgetting something here? Is there a third reason or a fourth reason?
No, I guess you covered it. Uh, we have been getting the ticket for SSO on GitHub. It has the maximum amount of comments and reactions in AppSmith. So there is also that reason.
That, yeah, correct. That's the third reason, just so that we can tell people, hey, we're actually working on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah. So with that, do you want to talk about SSO and demo us how SSO works?
Right. So, to ensure that we get people up and about immediately, we actually started with providing a generic SAML and OIDC provider, because when we went through that ticket for SSO, we realized everybody was asking for these two things at the very
Mhm.
top. So that's what we've done. So let me actually show you an instance where I've configured SSO. Um, can you see my tab?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So this is an instance that I have set up and I've configured SSO. And I want to show you the experience of everybody who's going to use this instance. How is it going to be like? So this is your login screen. As part of this, as a lot of people who want to do SSO, they want only their trusted identity provider to be authenticating. So as part of this, we've also configured the ability to turn off form login. So on the screen, you cannot see form login and you cannot see sign up. You can only see an option to sign in with SSO. So for this demo, what I've done is I have Okta, who will be my identity provider today. And we are using SAML to communicate with Okta, right? So to get started, I'm just going to go ahead and click on sign in with SSO. And now I should be redirected to Okta screen. As you can see, I'm on Okta and I'm going to give my username password that I've set up on Okta and I'm going to sign in. Once Okta authenticates that indeed this is correct. Okta will, yeah, as you can see, we have authenticated on AppSmith as well. I gave Trisha at appsmith.com as my user ID, and as you can see, I've also logged into AppSmith as Trisha at appsmith.com. And there you go. This is going to be the experience that everybody who's using this instance, which has SSO configured, this is how it's going to be. Now, I wanted to also show you what the experience of configuring SSO is going to be like. This is something that is going to be only visible to the administrators of the instance. I am the admin of this instance, so I have this option. So I'm just going to open. So these are all instance level settings. So I'm going to go to authentication, and here is where you're going to find the various options. So this is still under development right now, what I'm showing you. So these are not wired up right now, but this is sort of what it's going to be like. So I'm just going to quickly show you how we are envisioning SAML. So I'm going to add a SAML integration. So there are three different ways in which you can register your external identity provider with increasing level of difficulties. First is simply put down the metadata URL and you can just fetch it from the URL. If you don't have that, you find the XML which contains this, you copy paste it, and then you click on parse to import the configuration. If you don't have that, then you individually go ahead and actually configure the attributes for these fields which are required. And that's about it. Either of these three you do, and you'll be able to register. Once you do that, you just have to tell us there are three things that AppSmith is interested in for every user who logs in. That's user's email, first name, and last name. And you just tell us the attributes and save the data, and that is it. And you will have SAML configured. And yeah, this is sort of how the configuration of SAML looks like today. We've tried to remove all the unnecessary, not unnecessary, but the most commonly used things are what we've kept, and we've tried to make this easier. And we'll continue with that agenda. Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
Extraordinary, Trisha. This looks really exciting, and uh, so you said this works today with SAML or an OIDC provider, right? So
yes.
basically, any of the SSO providers in the world, AppSmith will be able to work with.
Absolutely. So these are generic integrations. So, you can connect with Okta, Auth0, Ping ID, what have you. As long as you are using the correct protocol, we have the integration ready here. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Trisha, do you want to talk a bit about what's next for this SSO feature?
Right. So for us, right now, we are wiring it up and finishing it up so that we can very soon ship this out to people. But we want to put in a lot of effort towards putting in documentation. So before we even got started with implementing this, as I said, that we spent 3 weeks, like there are three of us who just spent 3 weeks trying out SSO integrations with various products because we wanted to understand what it takes. And it was very painful. And the biggest thing was documentation was missing. And we don't want that pain for people who want to do SSO on AppSmith. We want to go out there and give you documentation for all the possible famous providers. We want to give you step by step guide so that you don't need to be, you don't need to be frustrated while setting up SSO. That's something that we want delight there. Yeah. Post that, we're also working on rollback access control. And we want you to be able to import your user groups from these identity providers that companies have, like you have HR, you have marketing, you have engineering. We want you to be able to import those user groups and do role-based access controls inside AppSmith on the basis of these user groups. As your team size grows, when we are talking about thousands of people, you don't want to individually be inviting people to your workspace, to your organization, or individually deactivating. You would rather deal with user groups, and that's something that we want to bring in next. Another thing that we are working on is, a lot of companies that we spoke to, they their internal APIs are authenticated, of course, and they cannot directly use AppSmith without adding custom login. So what we want to do is we want to provide these JWT tokens when a user logs into AppSmith via SSO. We want to expose these JWT tokens, not expose them via client, but we want to give the developers, AppSmith developers, an opportunity to use them for these authenticated internal APIs.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Got it. So talking about the third one specifically, what this means now is, uh, let's say both of us are using AppSmith apps. Now, whenever I make an API call, it's going to be signed with my token. While
Right.
when you make an API call, it's going to be signed with your token. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds useful and secure.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Trisha, for talking about SSO. Folks, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them uh, in YouTube chat here, and we'll happily answer them. And while we wait for questions here, I want to just spend a couple of minutes just talking about the SSO and our enterprise edition. Now, as you know, AppSmith so far has been very focused on the community edition, and that's actually going to be the case even going forward. Most of our efforts are focused on the community edition. Uh, with SSO, it's the first time that we are introducing a feature uh, for our commercial and the enterprise edition of AppSmith. Now, we know a lot of small teams also want SSO, and that's one of the reasons why you'll find that the pricing model that we are going with is actually a usage-based pricing model, and it's not a flat fee, a big flat fee. Neither is it uh, is it a really big commitment that you have to make. Our hope is that everybody can actually use SSO, and that's the reason you're going to find our pricing model to be quite interesting and quite easy to get started with. So if you do have any questions about it, we are available on Discord or Intercom or email to answer anything about it. So we have a question. We have or rather a comment from Gerardo. Even as a single dev rollback branching and as a simple backup, this feature is very valuable. That's right. That's right, Gerardo. That's exactly what Trisha was just saying right before this. And I'm very glad that you also find this useful. So I'm going to move on to the last demo. We're going to do this a little bit quickly because we are nearly out of time. This is the JSON form builder. Now, the JSON form builder has been something that we've been working on for, I believe, like 2.5 months now. And some of you might have already seen the designs of this. But today I'm just going to show you it in a working condition. And this is another feature that we expect to go live in the month of February. This is really close. So we are very close with GitSync, SSO, as well as this JSON form creator. Now, the JSON form creator is just like any other widget. Let me actually go ahead and delete this. So if you search for JSON form, you're going to find it. And let's drag and drop this form right here. Now, this form, as you know, if you'll notice, it comes with the title and it comes with two buttons, reset and submit. Uh, After this, the way you need to make this form work is by connecting it to an API response. Now, I already have an API that I've connected to here. Let's go here. So this is an API which is basically fetching a list of users and some of their data, like first name, last name, their avatar, email, etc. So we're going to actually use this API response in the JSON form creator. So let's go here, and when I okay, sorry, the binding is not the select to bind is not ready yet, but I'm just going to still type this out. Now, as soon as I type it out, you'll notice that this immediately generates a form. And this form essentially, every single field that you have here actually connects to one of these objects here. So you have page per page, total pages. The interesting thing that you'll notice is because page is a number, we've actually shown the number input here versus email first name. These are not, okay. I think it's in an error state. Let's just go back here and come back here. Okay, we are back. So, and if you notice the email, first name, last name, they're actually all input fields, or rather text input fields, because we've identified automatically that that's what they are. Now you can go on and modify this. Maybe I just want to show this list here. This form here, I don't want everything else. So for that, what we're going to do is just show one item here. And so I just have one item here. I think we still have some errors because this is still being tested, but but the demo is still going to work. Now, as soon as this form showed up, you can see that these are all the fields that exist. I can now go on and individually configure these fields to be different. And these fields will continue to maintain themselves even when the response changes. So I'm going to configure email as, oh, it's already selected email as email type. And therefore here, it's going to tell me that this is an invalid input unless I put @ and domain. So isn't the school like the validation is already built in? That's the reason this is going to save you a lot of time. Now I can maybe change avatar to a different kind of a field. Now avatar specifically is an image, which is today not, it's not a form component, but I might want to change it, let's say, to a select widget. Now I can actually have the response, rather I can have an object bound here so that we can show the appropriate responses. That's the beauty of this form component, that every single field here can be built by an API response, and you can go on and customize it to reflect the correct field. And that's the advantage. You know, we basically have all the form components right here. The radio group or multi-select or multi-line, whatever you might require, it's all right here. So this is a quick demo of the JSON form viewer. The JSON form builder. We'll go live with this feature sometime in the month of February. And I hope you can try this out and let us know your feedback about it. If you want to try this out, I'm going to share the URL of this deploy preview, so you can go ahead and try this out for yourself. So we're just going to paste this in the YouTube live chat. So we actually, maybe we'll go on and share all the other deploy previews as well. Maybe git sync might be tough to use because today it's configured to Okta, but I'm going to share the git sync. Rather, the SSO feature is probably difficult to give as a deploy preview right now, but git sync is something we can again give as a deploy preview. Yeah, so the other URL that you'll see is for git sync. Now, some of you might have already seen git sync because it's turned on for certain users already. But in this particular deploy preview, I think it's turned on for everybody, right? Anag, is that correct? Do you think in this deploy preview, Git sync will
Uh,
work for every account, or is it still for
uh,
certain accounts?
it's still under the feature flag, even though it's
Oh, it's still under a feature flag.
yeah, I
Okay,
guess.
I got it. No worries. So we have a question here, which is what happens when you hit submit in the JSON form. Now, with the JSON form, essentially you can take the data that's been filled out in the JSON form and submit it in a post body request. That's the way you'll be able to use this in an API response. Let me see if I can actually test this out for you. Yes. So let me I'm just going to share my screen again. And then we'll just show that to you really quickly. Okay, so here I'm just going to type in some dummy data right here. And now you can actually access uh, the the JSON forms object. Uh, Let me just show that to you in a text widget. Now I'll be able to access this by typing JSON form one form data. So as you can see, it's an array, and it actually shows this. So this is how you can use the form response in a post API.
This is awesome, Abhishek.
Thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really excited to go live with this because I've actually I was involved at the start when we were designing this feature. It took a long time to definitely like think through all the use cases. There's definitely a lot more to do. One of the enhancements that we've been thinking about is how do we let you specify the UI components through another API response so that we don't have to automatically select it. You can specify it. That's going to be one of the enhancements that's going to come. The second enhancement is probably going to be ability to reorder some of these form components visually inside the form itself. Today, you need to reorder the components in the property pane, which is fine, but we definitely want to get it right in the canvas as well.
Nice.
Uh, so we have two more questions here. First is from Prince Shrestha. So, what is our process for building and releasing features? Are they available on GitHub to test and try it out ourselves, or are they locked away until it's fully ready? Now, Prince, you can actually try out all the features that we are working on at AppSmith, and I'm going to quickly show you how to do that. It's really easy thanks to Vercel, which creates deploy previews for literally like every feature branch that we are working on. And that makes it really easy for us to just share early deploy previews. Okay, so this is AppSmith's GitHub, and if you go to pull request, you're gonna find uh, all the pull requests which have deploy previews. Now, if I just search for, let's say, JSON form, let's see what features are here. Yeah, here's the correct pull request by Ashit. So if I click here, I can now see, the pull request. But the place where you go find the deploy preview is at the very bottom. So you just scroll, 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 and at the very bottom, you're going to see Vercel. You're going to see Vercel, which says deployment has completed. And if you click on this, it's going to take you to the Vercel page where you have the deploy preview that's ready. You can then click on this deploy preview and then start using it. I have another question from Hussein here. Hussein is asking, log into the link with Google account isn't working. I'm going to just show you how to log in. Now, this is a deploy preview. Because this is a deploy preview, the Google and GitHub logins are actually not configured. They do show up here, but they're not actually configured. So just clicking this is just going to lead to an error uh, because it's just not configured. It's just not going to let me log in. Uh, oh, it just logged me in with test123. Let me log out here. Now, for you to try out
Hey,
any,
Abhishek, I think you're sharing a tab and not a window, so we're not able to see you check out the deploy preview.
oh, yes, you're right. I think you're still seeing my GitHub. Hold on. Let me just go back to. Okay, I think now you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great, thanks. So now let's go to the deploy preview again. Now for this deploy preview, because this is a deploy preview, the only thing that will work is a form login. Now you will need to sign up and create a new account. But the other thing that you can do is you can just use this demo account. Now this demo account is actually shared by everybody inside AppSmith team, and we've freely shared it outside in the world as well. The login is demo@appsmith.com, and the password is just demo@appsmith. So if you use this, you'll be able to log into every single deploy preview that there is. It's demo@appsmith.com and uh, demo@appsmith. You can see it right here. So this is the login to use for any deploy preview. And that's how you can try every single feature that we are working on.
So we can't see your screen, but I guess we can share these credentials here.
Oh, I think I might have accidentally clicked on stop share. Let me just go back there. No, it still is the wrong tab. Okay, I think now you can see my screen. So this, yeah, so this is the login credentials. It's demo@appsmith.com, demo@appsmith. That's the credential to log into every single deploy preview out there. Uh, there are a lot of interesting things that we've been working on. Let me take one more minute and just show you some of the other interesting deploy previews that we have that you should definitely check out and give us feedback on. So if you go to the pull requests, one of the things that we've been working on is the Entity Explorer, the new Entity Explorer. So you can check that out by searching for Entity Explorer. We also have theming that's being worked on, and that's another pull request that's right here. Again, this one has a deploy preview at the very bottom. These are some of the more interesting features. We have actually 95 pull requests open, and majority of them might be for small bugs, but a lot of them are for major features that we are working on. So yeah, there's just a lot that we've been working on. A lot of new widgets, as well as a lot of new integrations and a lot of other features. So hopefully you can try out some of these deploy previews, especially the ones that you want to use. It would be great if you can try it out and give us feedback. And you can leave feedback as a comment right in the pull request itself, and we'll definitely like take that into account. Oh, we have this as well. We have a new mobile responsive AppSmith homepage. Today, the AppSmith homepage is not responsive. Our apps are, of course, also not responsive, but the first step that we've taken is to make the homepage responsive. And over the next few months, we will be working on making AppSmith UI responsive as well. So this is a deploy preview for that one. All right. So this is all we have for you. Today's call has gone on for quite a bit. Thank you, everybody who's been hanging around here for attending it and asking us questions. Otherwise, we'll see you on another community call next Thursday. And next Thursday, uh, we're going to be doing like a live demo. So do keep an eye out for next Thursday's community call. And with that, I will see you all. Bye, Trisha. Bye, Anag.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.